In today's video, we're going to be taking a big look at history, talking about the history of winters and falls and basically those cold winters and what winters typically follow them. Obviously, we just had a colder winter, so we're talking about this upcoming winter and really trying to see what to expect for the fall and winter here. So we're going to be using analogs from within the last 20 years. We're going to be taking a look at all of these really cold winters and the winters that follow them. But as a bonus, again, we will be looking at the September through February timeframe for all of these years, just to give us a good idea of the upcoming fall and winter. So it's gonna be a really cool one. I am on a cruise right now. We are filming an awesome vlog, so be sure to check out that vlog channel in the top right corner of your screen, description, and pinned comment down below. I really appreciate you guys' support over there. Let's take a look at things. And first off, we're taking a look at our first analog, which is 2013 to 2014. This is, again, the first winter. So we'll be taking a look at this one and the winter following it. You could see that this was just a monster winter. A lot of us remember, especially if you lived up here in the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, or Northern Plains. It was just a really, really cold one. Probably the coldest one since 2000. If I'm being honest. We had these warmer analogs and anomalies here from Alaska southward through areas offshore of Canada and then into the southwestern states. And this acted sort of as a positive P&A, but it wasn't the purest one. And that's why the cold really centered along that central area. And we were cooler along the eastern seaboard, but it was less extreme. Taking a look at the winter following it. So this is the winter of 2014 to 2015, which also some of you might remember because it was also a very cold one, but it was historically snowy, especially towards the tail end of that winter in the Northeast, more specifically New England. This was the year that Boston got buried, essentially, with nor'easter after nor'easter, blizzard after blizzard. Just a really crazy one. And one of the key differences here is that we had a very healthy looking positive P&A along all of Western North America. And a lot of this cold was centered actually along that eastern seaboard, both of the United States and Canada, actually. So, again, first cold winter, which would be last winter from current perspective, and then this upcoming winter would be this one for the second winter in a row. And they usually come in groups of two, and that's kind of the purpose of today's video, is talking about that. So let's take a look at our next example, and this is 2009 to 2010. And what a lot of you might remember from this winter isn't up in Boston, is actually closer to DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, Southern Pennsylvania, where they saw multiple massive snowstorms up there. This was also a very cold one for the central and eastern states. So let's take a look at the winter following in 2010 to 2011. Neither of these winters were quite as cold as the 2013 to 2014 winter, but they were very cold. You can see this is the second cold winter in a row here for these eastern areas, and the most memorable part of the 2010 to 2011 winter was actually that Boxing Day blizzard that happened right on Christmas Day for some folks, and then the day following on Boxing Day for many along the eastern states. This was a particularly potent snowstorm, and also I think it impacted areas very far to the south as well. I want to say this is one of those snowstorms that caused snowfall as far south as the Florida Panhandle and a lot of the Gulf states, all the way up the southeast coast, all the way up the mid-Atlantic coast, and all the way into New England. Classic up and down the East Coast blizzard that year. But in addition to that, again, it was just a very cold winter overall. Now, let's just take a look at the past winter. By the way, the colors are varying in intensity. So this lighter blue means a lot more on this one because we had very warm conditions near the Hudson Bay. So this pushes us to 8 degrees differential on the top and bottom end here. So this is actually 2 to 4 degrees below normal Celsius, which is very far below normal for these areas. So you could see it was a cold one. No surprise there. It just happened. All of us really remember it. We did have warmer anomalies overall along the West Coast. Very positive P&A dominated winter. The question mark is next winter, right? That's the big point of discussion here, 2025 to 2026. What is going to follow this? And his history will tell us that the central and eastern states will see cooler conditions for this upcoming winter. That is what history would tell us. In all of the cold winters really within the last 10, 15, 20 years have had 2 cold winters in a row, which makes things easy, right? Now it makes sense because conditions typically, a lot of larger scale conditions and anomalies do actually change very slightly, but on a 1 year basis, it's not going to be the polar opposite, if that makes sense. So we do see similar conditions typically from one winter to the next, which might be part of the whole reasoning behind it. Let's take a month by month look again. We are going to kind of dive into the fall time here in this one as well. So here is September of 2010. We're only taking a look at those second winters. So the winter of 2010 to 11, following in winter, I should say, and then fall and winter of 2014 to 2015 here. And you can see September was warmer along the East Coast, also in the West, much cooler in the north central states and along that western seaboard. For October of that year, and sorry for everything that keeps popping up on screen there, try my best here. October was much warmer in the central states, especially the north central states. The southwest was a little cooler, and then the east coast was really close to normal for the most part. November of 2010 was very cold along the west coast and warmer overall in the east. So everything from September to November would have told you, hey, this upcoming winter is going to be warmer, right? I mean, just logically, if the fall is cold, or better yet, warm, you're probably going to think the winter is going to be warm. But oftentimes it's actually the opposite, believe it or not. Typically, a warmer fall is going to play more in favor of a colder winter. Now, here's December. This is where things really turned around. We see, obviously, very, very cold temperatures here in the east, very warm in the southwest. That was kind of the dominant pattern there in December of 2010. And these blues in here are actually 4 to 8 degrees below average Celsius, which is just insane for a month. I mean, that is just so far below normal, so consistently below normal. One of the colder months you will see in the southeast as far as the wintertime, December 2010. Now, as we transition into the new year after that, here's January 2011. We stayed cold in the east with 2 to maybe 4 degrees below normal in these areas. Not hugely above normal in the west, but not below normal either. And then here is February, and actually things flipped in a very big way. We saw cooler than normal conditions along the west here, as you can see. And as a result, you guys know this is a negative PNA that forced warm air up the East Coast to finish out that winter. But 2 months being colder, 1 month being warmer is a very, very cold winter. Now, as we transition into our next analog years, this is going to be 2014 to 2015. We're starting out in September, and we actually did have a very strong positive PNA this year. So we see the warmth really dominating along that west coast, cooler for the north central, cooler for some of the four corner states, cooler for some of the southeast. There is a couple of warm areas in there, but not anything to write home about. It is only September by this time frame. So let's take a look at October of 2014. And it really was just a warm month for almost everybody, unless you were in the Great Lakes or the Southeast. This was a warmer winter, or warmer October, I should say, in the West and then along the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states, as well. As you can see, October, more than even just the overall fall, for some reason, kind of ties in to the winter historically, is something that I've always heard about. And if you see a warmer October, colder winter follows. If you see a colder October, a lot of times a warmer winter will follow. So these are all kind of tips and things that we're all going to pay attention to as we move into this fall and look forward towards the winter. Just some things to pay attention to. November of 2014 is when things actually turned around this year. I remember it sleeted in Southeast Virginia in November of 2014. Don't ask me why my memory is so good. I don't really know. But I do recall that. I was 14 years old then, but I recall sleet, and there was a chance of snow. Just, you know, I mean, if it sleets, it's very, very close to being snow. So it could have even, might as well have been snow in November, which is very rare in Southeast Virginia. I've never seen it. Along the West Coast, we still had that positive PNA. Not as strong as it once was. It is a little bit offshore, but it is still very, very present. And then we see this free flow of Arctic air for that November really working its way in through the north central states into the east overall. Here is December, where we got a little bit of a thaw, actually. Following that major November, we actually saw across the board just like slightly above normal temperatures. Probably not the worst December in the world. It wasn't a torch really anywhere, but certainly wasn't super cold anywhere either here. It's as we move towards January where things started to really, really change. Positive PNA was one of the craziest ones we've ever seen. Very intense. Cold air working its way down the entire East Coast, and we actually had cooler temperatures along Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma area as well as New Mexico. Really cold in the East for January. I don't remember anything about January of 2015 except that we probably got snow here in Virginia. I know it snowed once, so most times it's January, so I'm gonna bet on that. But February, after that, January got even more intense. A very classic looking positive P&A hugging that West Coast, and you could see Arctic air was just free flowing into the central and eastern states here. These purples being 5 to 7, maybe even more degrees below normal here in the east. So this was a tremendously cold February. And again, we saw historic amounts of snowfall in the Northeast during that particular month. With all that being said, I love doing these videos. I've done these for years, and these historic analog videos are so fun. Just kind of like going through, remembering all of these years, bringing up old memories, weather memories, and it's just been so cool. Be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day, even when I'm on a cruise, even when I'm on vacation. I find a way to get these videos out for you guys. So be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. You can even hit, better yet, did I say everything yet? Yeah, like the video, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.